one more lane. You really think Yerevan needs another 100,000 cars? Somewhere between 50 and 200,000. That's a hell of a range. Congestion isn't linear. So you're serious. Unfortunately, I honestly can't tell whether you're joking. I can't either anymore. Let's start with the obvious. Do you actually want more traffic? No. More cars? No. Then why would you write something that sounds completely insane? Because sometimes reality teaches faster than policy. I have absolutely no idea what that means. I know. Try me. Every city eventually reaches a moment when it realizes it can't keep solving congestion by making driving just a little easier. And some cities reach that realization after another highway, others after another flyover, others after another $1 billion. And Yerevan, we're still trying another traffic light. So smarter traffic lights don't help? They help. Hold on. 5 minutes ago you said they don't. I said they don't solve congestion. Not the same thing. Convince me. Imagine tomorrow morning every traffic light in Yerevan becomes perfect. Perfect, perfect. No wasted green time, no unnecessary waiting. AI running every intersection. Traffic improves. Sounds fantastic. It is. For a while. There it is again. What? That phrase. For a while. Everything with you is for a while, because everything is. People notice. Driving suddenly feels just a little easier. A few people return to their cars. Some stop taking the bus. A family decides living another 5 kilometers away isn't such a bad idea after all. A developer looks at an empty field and thinks, nice place for a new neighborhood. Fast forward a few years. We're back where we started. So AI failed. No, it worked exactly as intended. Then what failed? Us? Our assumption, which was that congestion is an engineering problem, isn't it? No. It's a human problem that happens to involve engineering. That sounds suspiciously philosophical. Cities usually are. Cars don't make decisions. People do. Roads don't decide where families live. People do. Traffic lights don't persuade anyone to drive. They simply make driving a little more attractive. And when enough people make the same perfectly rational decision, congestion comes back. So engineering is useless. Not even close. Engineering is extraordinary. It solves engineering problems brilliantly. Congestion just isn't one of them. That's a bold statement. I think the opposite is bolder, which is believing that a city of 1 million people behaves like an equation. So mathematics is the problem now? No. Mathematics is innocent. The mistake is believing that once you've solved the mathematics, people stop behaving like people. So what you're really objecting to is the belief that congestion can be optimized away. Exactly. We've spent decades treating cities like machines. They aren't. They're ecosystems. They're markets, their habits, their cultures. They're millions of tiny decisions made every single day by people who've never heard the term transport plan, and yet they somehow keep proving transport planners right and wrong, which should make all of us just a little more humble. So let me get this straight. You don't think congestion is an engineering problem? Correct. Then what is it? A psychology problem. That sounds like something a philosopher says when he doesn't know any engineering. Possibly. But hear me out. I'm listening. Imagine every driver in Yerevan disappears tonight. That's a pleasant thought. Tomorrow morning the roads are empty. No congestion. Correct. Did we solve anything? Well, yes. No traffic. Exactly. Now bring everyone back, but keep the roads exactly the same. Keep the traffic lights. Keep the intersections. Keep the asphalt. Only change one thing. What? Tell everyone that driving is now twice as fast. Without changing the roads? Without changing the roads. That's impossible. Exactly. But suppose they believe you, they'll drive more. Why? Because people respond to incentives. Not roads. Not asphalt. Not traffic lights. Incentives. So we're talking economics now. We've always been talking economics. You just thought we were talking about roads. You're doing that thing again. What thing? Changing the subject. No. Changing the level. There's a difference. Fine, let's stay at your level. Why does congestion always come back? Because every improvement changes behavior. Always? Almost. You shorten a commute. Somebody moves farther away. You add parking. More people decide driving is worth it. You synchronize traffic lights. Rush hour becomes slightly less painful, so more people drive during rush hour. People really do that? Every day. Without even realizing it. So the city keeps adapting. Exactly. That's why I don't think cities behave like machines. Machines don't wake up one morning and decide to move 5 kilometers farther from work because traffic improved. people do. Okay, let's assume you're right. Why is everyone still trying to optimize traffic? Because optimization feels like progress, isn't it? Sometimes. But sometimes it's anesthesia. Anesthesia? Think about it. Every time congestion becomes unbearable, there's pressure to ask difficult questions. About what? About land use, about parking, about public transport, about why everything is so far apart, about whether every trip really needs a car. Then someone builds a flyover. Traffic improves a little. Everyone relaxes. The difficult questions disappear until they come back with the traffic. So you're saying every successful traffic project creates the next traffic project. Now you're getting dangerous. I thought we liked successful projects. We do, unless we're measuring the wrong thing. Meaning, suppose I make driving 10% easier. Success. Suppose that encourages 15% more driving. Still success? Not for long, exactly. You've used the phrase borrowed time before. I like it because that's what it is. Every optimization buys us time. The question is, time for what? That's the whole conversation. Time to rethink the city, or time to build another optimization? You're making it sound like technology is the enemy. Not at all. Technology is wonderful. It just can't answer questions we refuse to ask. Such as, what kind of city are we actually trying to build? That's a planning question. Exactly. Not a traffic question, a planning question, a land use question, even a cultural question. Traffic is just where all those decisions finally meet at the same red light. I have to admit something. Go on. When we started this conversation, I thought you were talking about cars. You aren't. No, I'm talking about cities. Then let me ask you something. Go ahead. Why do you think cities keep making the same mistake? Because people never learn from history. No, because every generation believes history starts with them. That's even worse. It is. Think about it. Every mayor inherits congestion. Every engineer inherits congestion. Every driver inherits congestion. Nobody inherits the decisions that created it. Interesting. Congestion has no memory. Cities do. Explain. Let's say you build another flyover. Traffic improves for a while. There it is again. You'll get used to it. I doubt it. 10 years later, nobody remembers why the flyover was built. They only remember that traffic is terrible again. So they build another one. Exactly. The city accumulates infrastructure, but it loses institutional memory. That's actually true in a lot of fields. Exactly. Every generation thinks it's facing a brand new problem, when it's often facing the consequences of very old solutions. So what's the lesson? That roads are bad? No. That roads are expensive? No. The lesson is much stranger. Go on. Every road changes more than traffic. How? It changes land. A road is just a road. No road is just a road. The moment you build it, land changes value. Businesses relocate. Developers buy fields. Apartment blocks appear. Shopping centres follow. Schools follow. People rearrange their lives around a decision that originally looked like a transport project. So we're not building roads, we're building cities. Now you're getting it. Every transport decision is secretly a land use decision. Even a pedestrian crossing, especially a pedestrian crossing. Really? Think about it. If I can safely cross a street, suddenly the bakery on the other side becomes part of my neighborhood. The pharmacy, the cafe, the park, the school. They're now within walking distance. Nothing moved, except the relationship between places. Exactly. Urban planning is really the planning of relationships, not objects. That's unexpected. Most important ideas usually are. So when we widen a road, we aren't just widening a road, we're changing relationships. You're making some relationships easier and others harder. Driving becomes easier, walking becomes harder, crossing takes longer, distances feel larger. The city quietly reorganizes itself, without anybody voting for it, without anybody even noticing, until they notice. Called congestion. You're enjoying this, aren't you? A little. Because once you see cities this way, you can't unsee them. Fine. Let's assume everything you've said is true. Why shouldn't Armenia just follow the same path everyone else followed? Excellent question. Because history has changed. Meaning? The first countries to motorize were experimenting. Nobody knew how the story ended. We do. So you're saying we're late. Very. Isn't that a disadvantage? Only if our goal is to repeat the 20th century. And if it isn't, then being late is the greatest advantage we have, because somebody else has already paid tuition. Tuition. The mistakes. Highways, sprawl, parking minimums, car dependency. They paid for the lesson. We inherited the notes. That's a nice sentence. I stole it from reality. You keep talking as if history is on a deadline. Maybe it is. Why? Because the world has limits. Climate, among other things. Money, also. Materials, yes. But none of those worry me as much. Then what does? Space. Space it? That's everything. Steel can be produced, concrete can be produced, energy can be generated, money can be borrowed. Space cannot. A city gets exactly one chance to decide what occupies its land. And once you've filled it with roads, you've made a decision that lasts much longer than the asphalt. So what's the solution? Who said there was one? You're telling me there isn't. I'm telling you there isn't one. People hate that answer, I know. They want one big project, one ribbon cutting, one miracle, one headline. Congestion solved. Exactly. Sorry to disappoint. So there isn't a silver bullet. No, there are 1,000 paper cuts. That sounds considerably less inspiring. Cities usually are. You're avoiding my question again. No, you're asking the wrong one. Then help me ask the right one. Don't ask, how do we eliminate congestion? Ask, what kind of congestion are we willing to accept? You're saying congestion is inevitable? Of course. The question is where? Explain. Imagine a city with no congestion. Sounds wonderful. Think about it. No traffic, no queues, no waiting, no delays. Sounds perfect or empty. Cities exist because people want to be near other people. Near jobs, near cafes, near schools, near opportunity, near each other. Congestion is what happens when lots of people want the same place at the same time. In other words, success has traffic. Exactly. The problem isn't congestion. The problem is who gets stuck in it. I don't follow. A bus carrying 80 people, one person in an SUV. Should they lose the same amount of time? Most people would say yes. Most people haven't thought about the question. What about an ambulance? Exactly. What about a fire truck? Exactly. What about a child walking to school? Exactly. So congestion isn't just about traffic, it's about priorities. Now we're talking, every city has congestion. The interesting question is, whose time matters? That's political. Everything in cities is political. Even traffic lights. Especially traffic lights. Every green light is a decision about whose time is more valuable. I'd never thought about it that way. Most people don't. That's why traffic engineering often looks objective, isn't it? It measures speed, delay, queue length, travel time. Those sound objective. They are. But deciding whose travel time you're trying to reduce, that's not engineering. That's values. So when someone says we're reducing congestion, I always want to ask, for whom? Okay, let's say we answer that question. What do we actually build? Finally, a practical question. You're relieved. A little. We stop asking roads to do jobs they were never designed to do. Such as building communities, creating neighborhoods, keeping children independent, supporting local businesses, making cities healthy. Roads can't do that? No. Roads connect places. Cities create places. Confuse those two, and you spend 50 years wondering why every new road creates another problem. So what do we build, not what? First, where? Where should homes go? Where should jobs go? Where should schools go? Where should shops go? That's not transport. Exactly. It's land use. You really think land use matters more than transport? Transport follows land use, almost always. People don't drive because they enjoy driving. Well, some do. Some do. Most don't. They drive because that's where everything ended up. If your grocery store is 5 kilometers away, you'll probably drive. If it's 200 meters away, you probably won't. Nothing changed about the road. Everything changed about the city. So we've been asking transport to solve a land use problem for decades. That's a little embarrassing, only if we keep doing it.